700 Marines are headed to Los Angeles as the anti-ICE riots are spiraling out of control. Well, Jeremy Johnson, lead pastor of Fearless Church in downtown LA, joins us now. So, Jeremy, you're on the ground in downtown LA. What can you tell us about what's happening with these riots?
Yeah, I mean, it's obviously the center of what has become almost like a war zone at times, in more ways than just physical, right? The divide really of a country between the policies and politics that each side holds dear. And so we're right in the center of it. God has stationed us there, downtown LA, real close to what is now called the Crypto Center. And we have a very diverse, amazing group of people that are a part of our community there, our family. Man, we have a lot of fear that's been stirred, a lot of people that are afraid for themselves, afraid to maybe even come to downtown. And then a lot of people that are afraid from the fear that's been stirred by the media and different things on, if they could get taken or arrested or whatever it might be. And so there's just a lot of emotions, a lot of different things happening. But Sunday, we still had 100 salvations at our church on Sunday, still a full house. We had a whole bunch of people baptized in connection with Baptize America and our normal baptisms that we do. And so God is moving in the midst of this. I mean, I think the biggest thing that people can happen in our Christianity and our Christian walk is we could get distracted at what God's doing when we see the chaos that the enemy is causing. And I just want to keep the eyes of our generation on the fact that God is stirring revival in LA. I mean, we've just got through the fires that were in LA, like just people coming back to Jesus, people looking for something greater. I mean, when you lose everything, your house and everything, then you realize that this earth is not your home, and you start looking for something greater. And so we've seen so many salvations, so much help and care through the fires. And also what happened in the George Floyd time, man, we've just been right there on the front lines in all these things. And we've kind of just learned that we just got to throw ourselves into the middle of it and love on people and meet the need that's there and do what maybe government might be trying to do, but failing to do, and bridge the gap. The enemy wants to divide us, but we're going to bring unity in the center there. But yes, there is both. There is both people that are trying to peacefully protest, and then there's also people that are just there to cause chaos, destruction, riots. I mean, you see it on the news. Those are real pictures. Those are not AI. But then there's also people that you don't see that are just trying to let their voice be heard. Technically, usually the news goes after the negative more than the positive. Right. And so there's both out there, and there's good people that are just wanting to find a way to share their opinion. And then there's always bad people that are coming in there and just causing chaos at all times.
Well, I think it's such an interesting dynamic, right? It's such an interesting dichotomy that we're on the heels of Baptize America, where, maybe 30,000 people plus were baptized from coast to coast. And then minutes later, we have on our television screens, police cars being, hit with rocks, fires in the middle of downtown LA. So, Pastor, you're in the middle of it. And I've worked in the media long enough to know that exactly your point. It is the sensational that gets the coverage. So that doesn't mean that the sensational isn't happening, though. So my friend who's watching this, and they see, this is an international audience, and they see police cars being set on fire. They see, stores being looted. It looks like something post-apocalyptic is happening in your city. I guess the question is, what is the Christian response to this madness?
Well, I mean, this week we just felt in our hearts like, hey, we're going to, even before I preached to my crowd about something that has nothing to do with this, but has more to do with eternity. We just paused for a moment. We realized that there's real fear. There's real anxiety. Again, like I said, we have a big Hispanic population in our church. In fact, a lot of my staff, some of our team, coaches that we have. I mean, they're either DACA recipients or birther children, where they're afraid for their abuela, or someone that they love. In their mind is, maybe it's true, maybe it's not, right? I think in this, we were told, President Trump is going to be going after the criminals, and we've seen that. And I think that hopefully no one can, kind of say, hey, that's not a good thing. Let's have a safe streets, let's have safe cities. But I think in the midst of it, we're seeing maybe there could be a percentage of people that are being taken that are good law-abiding citizens, or feel like that is happening. And so there's just fear. There's a lot of fear. And so I think in our church, we just kind of just reminded them that, hey, we're here to listen. We want to help. Our church is called Fearless. So in these times, we got to turn to God, not to anger, not to rage. We need to be the fearless church, not the fearful church. And so even Monday night and Tuesday night, we have a roof that overlooks downtown while the city continues to erupt in flames and anger and chaos and pain. We're going to have a prayer meeting, worship night on our roof. I think as a pastor, we need to give people an outlet to let out their emotion and their feeling, because fear isn't just an emotion, it's a spirit. And, the emotion of fear is real, but the spirit wants to control and build anger and resentment and chaos. And so as the enemy's working overtime in our city, we're going to work overtime. We're going to combat what's not really a physical battle, but we really believe a spiritual battle in our city, for chaos to reign and disorder to reign. And so that's what we're doing. We're just loving on people in the Gap, and being there. I mean, our church has given out 6 million pounds of food over the last couple of years, and mostly to people that maybe don't have their status here in America, and widows and orphans. And so we're going to be the hands and feet of Jesus, but we also believe in laws. We believe in safe borders. My biggest statement would be, heaven and hell both have walls, and gates. And I think the key is that in America, it feels like maybe right now the wall is the big thing being worked on, even though not physically, but just in the media, in everything. This is, but I remember Trump talking about the big, beautiful gate. And I think, we have to have both. We have to have, else it creates fear. Else there's just a loophole for people to just be in a cycle of like, hey, will I ever be able to be here? Well, I've been here for 10 years. I've been a great citizen. I'm not a citizen, but I want to be. We have to find a balance in our nation, that if we're going to have a strong wall, it has to have a gate, has to have a beautiful gate. And if not, it feels like a prison. It feels like rejection. It feels like fear. It feels not like Jesus. And so Jesus is the door, right, to heaven. And so he's that the most prized thing is that beautiful door. And so I think in America, if I could say anything that maybe a President Trump would hear, is President, we also need to make sure we have that beautiful door. And I know you're probably working on it, but I don't think it's felt in the streets. And so that would calm the streets down, is if there was a door and it was beautiful and it was big and it was welcoming.
Well, Pastor, you are in quite the position of man, like having to balance so many needs, so many perspectives. I appreciate you coming on here. I know this is, it's probably easier to just, speak about, something happening at your church when it comes to kind of your wheelhouse. But here you are, going out on a public platform to kind of help us process and digest a very, very heated, argumentative situation where people are on all sides. There's no one who's, just kind of a bystander. Everyone is very, very riled up. And so the fact that God has placed you exactly where you are, I mean, you are in downtown LA. I don't
Yeah.
think that's a coincidence. So we're going to be praying for you, my friend. We're going to have you back on. Hopefully this calms down. But you're doing a lot of other amazing things at your church that we'll have to highlight later. But as for now, Pastor Jeremy, I appreciate your time.
Yeah, God bless you guys, and let's be the leaders that stand in the tension and love with grace and mercy, but also truth and righteousness. I think that's we always say it like this at Fearless, like we're not necessarily the donkey or the elephant. We follow the lion. But the lion's not silent. There's a roar, and we're not here to be famous on earth. We're here to be famous in hell, and let the devil know he's not going to win in our cities, and people are going to be restored. I believe the greatest revival is coming now when we see the greatest chaos. It's the enemy just trying to catch up to what God's already doing behind the scenes. So let's go.